Semi-final Saturday here in North Wales, and coming up this evening, Gary Wilson and John Higgins. It's already Martin O'Donnell through, beating Elliot Slessor 6 frames to 5. And what a match we have on our hands this evening. Great respect for each other. Two tough competitors. Here they are with Michael.
I think he's a big time player. I think when it's the big occasions, I think that's when Gary plays some really great stuff. And obviously he defended the Scottish Open, which is an unbelievable achievement for anybody to do. He's also a player that sometimes he wears his heart on his sleeve sometimes, and he maybe tells everyone like how well he's playing, or maybe how much he's struggling. But he's a really attacking player, and when he goes on one, he's difficult to stop.
Playing someone like John, who's one of the legends, do you still feel that aura?
I suppose you'll never not. He's been around that long and it's been a thing for that long.
Yeah.
You can never really put yourself anywhere near him in that bracket. You know, you'd have to do some seriously good things over a number of years to get anywhere near that and feel like the same kind of level. So that's not knocking myself, that's just the way it is, isn't it? And you've just got to get through that and play to that. And as I say, just try and play your own game and do what you can against one of the greatest match players of all time, really.
And you played John in the semis in 2018. What are your memories from that game?
Oh, not many. I was probably a bit of a different player then. I didn't feel as confident. I was still relatively new to that stage of an event, and it felt a bit more of an occasion, whereas now I don't even treat these kinds of things like occasions as much anymore, like, which in a good way. Like, it's still a practice game sometimes if you're feeling all right. That sounds silly, but in your head you're treating it as like it's just another game, whereas yeah, that time in 2018 it felt like a semi-final, and it was pressure on us, and I wanted to do so well. You want to try so hard that you can't play. You're inhibited. I've managed to play enough games, as I say, like that now to not feel as much like that anymore. So it helps you just go out and play your game, I suppose.
And you're in another big semi-final. You must be excited about that.
Yeah, another massive occasion here in Wales, and I'd dearly love to win it. It'd be an amazing achievement.
And you've got an incredible record in the Welsh Open. What is it you love about Wales?
Must be the Celts, Michael. It must be, we're pretty similar. Now, a lot of the fans that come, they could be Scottish. It's just the way they enjoy their snooker. So now, it's been a great atmosphere all week. I think that they've turned up in their droves all week. So I'm sure the weekend it's going to be really busy, and I'm sure it'll be a great atmosphere.
What would it mean to get to your second Home Nations final in a row?
It'd be brilliant. Yeah, it would just be you don't want to try and analyse too much and think who have I played and how have I played. And at the end of the day, if you can get to the final of a ranking event, no matter what the situation is, it's a good thing, and it means you're improving. You're doing things right. You're going in the right direction. So yeah, that's the aim. Just try and be more consistent and just keep doing these kinds of things of getting to the latter stages of events. And yeah, just enjoy the ride and try and go as far as we can. And you're enjoying it?
I'm loving it, Michael. Yes, I'm loving it. So that's only because I'm winning. Obviously, it helps, doesn't it? But no, I'm enjoying playing. I'm enjoying competing, and that's good.
He's enjoying it, loving competing. I think he's always loved competing, and the fight of it. How much do you think it would mean to John Higgins if he was to win the trophy this weekend?
I think it'd just take the pressure off of him going into Sheffield, realising that he is a winner. He doesn't have to prove anything. One of the all-time greats, utmost respect from his peers. I think with John, it's been a challenge. He's had some sort of drum-ins when in normal circumstances he would have won. It's like working with a mind coach or a sports psychologist. I'm not actually sure, but he seems to have got that inner belief back. He took care of Mark Allen, no problem at all. And, OK, Mark Allen didn't play that well, but John had no problem getting over the line. So he's very happy with his game, and he's enjoying himself, which is what the clue is, I think.
I think we all enjoy a happy Higgins, don't we? And he has been one of the outstanding players this week, Ronnie. Where do you think he's at with his mindset right now?
Yeah, I think he's in a good place. Like, he's enjoying his snooker, which is so important. If you can enjoy your snooker, then it doesn't matter if you win or lose. You just can't wait to get back on the table, So yeah, for him it's great. Great place to be. And obviously, I think he's feeling better, and he's like getting over the line thing. We know he's got no problem getting over the line. He's done it so many times, but people maybe keep talking about that he hasn't done it recently, and it can get on your nerves, and you think, you feel like saying, listen, I'm an all-time great, mate, shut the hell up. But you can't, you know, you just have to let your snooker do the talking, and that's what John wants to do. He wants to go, bang, there's a victory. Everyone can pipe down there, you know, so... but we can say it on his behalf, because he's an all-time great and he's a winner. Never has to doubt himself, but he'd feel good about, you know, shutting a few people out, I suppose.
Well, I think so. He'd be pretty keen on that, wouldn't he, Alan? And we were chatting about Llandudno and coming back to a special place. I mean, all the wins of the Welsh Open, they haven't been here, but he's got a great record in Llandudno in semi-finals.
Yes, the Welsh Open down the years, it was 7 semi-finals and he's won the lot. So that's a pretty good bagful that he's got. You know, not that that's going to play any part tonight, but he clearly enjoys the event. He likes the history of it, all that sort of stuff. Talking about history, actually, John isn't the player he used to be. And that's why John needs to be playing well at any given time, because he's not a powerhouse player that... You know, you think back to the 90s, John would blow people away. He does it in a completely different way now. But the proviso on that is he has to have his A or B game to be able to win in the modern game. I'm talking about winning titles. But he's playing well enough at the moment to get this done, no problem.
All right, well, we have seconds before they walk for a second semi-final, so I'll go down the line. Jimmy, who's going to win tonight?
I think Higgins will win.
Ronnie?
I think Higgins, yeah.
OK, Higgins.
John 6-4.
OK, 6-4, John Higgins. I'd be surprised if I got to the end and you were going to go against John Higgins. But listen, we're going to be in for a real treat. It's Martin O'Donnell already through to tomorrow's final. My thanks for now to Alan, Ronnie and, of course, Jimmy. They'll be here all night and hopefully you will be too. So let's get the players out and we can now join our MC, Phil Seymour.
Noswaith croeso, good evening and a very warm welcome to semi-final Saturday here at the Betfix Welsh Open at venue Cymru in beautiful Llandudno. It's time now to welcome the players. We begin with the two-time and reigning Scottish Open champion, the Tyneside Terror, Gary Wilson. Opponent, a two-time Masters and UK champion, a four-time world champion, and a record-breaking five-time Welsh Open champion, the Wizard of Wishaw, John Higgins!
Well, the crowds, they've been unreal here all week and they've certainly found their voices tonight. What an evening in store. Great to have your company and it's lovely to have our commentary team with us of Joe Johnson and good evening first up to Philip Studd.
Gary, to break. You're to break, Gary, OK? You're to break, yes.
And what an evening, what an atmosphere. It's been that way all week here at Venue Cymru. It's one of the most iconic tournaments on the calendar. Only the World and UK Championships have been going on longer than the Welsh Open. This man, John Higgins,
thank you.
In your picture,
Gary Wilson to break.
Has won it on 5 occasions. A record, of course, standing in his way, though. One of the players of the last couple of seasons, the now double and reigning Scottish Open champion, Gary Wilson, who gets us underway. The first to 6 frames, of course, for the right to play Martin O'Donnell. How well did he play this afternoon in a terrific match with Elliot Slessor, finishing with a century. So it's going to be a special occasion for him tomorrow in his first ranking final. Who will he play? It's only their 4th meeting, and their most recent was at this stage of this tournament back in 2018. Higgins won 6-2 on his way to his 5th title, so maybe that's a good omen for the Wizard, Joe.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great game, this. 2 attacking players, both like to play freely, attacking. Both can play safe if needs be. And that red going close to that left corner. But that cue ball, look where it's finished.
What a scene. Every seat taken, and of course, for semi-finals day, we go down to the single table, so all eyes on the players tonight to see who will play Martin O'Donnell for the title tomorrow. Gary Wilson has had another terrific tournament and was outstandingly good last night in dispatching Anthony McGill 5-0. I don't think anyone would have predicted such a one-sided match. Anthony just couldn't get going, but Wilson scored heavily throughout.
Foul, the miss for John Higgins.
Looked very fluent. He's got a very nice style about him, I think, on the table, Gary Wilson. He's good to watch when he's in full float. But crucially now, of course, he is a proven winner, and that seems, Joe, to have elevated his game to a new level.
He's full of confidence, isn't he? And why shouldn't he be? After winning the Scottish Open, defending his title. Not many people have done that. Well, he found the line the last time round, just short of speed. But this time, he judges it perfectly. Excellent escape.
Yes, in retaining that Scottish Open title, he actually became only the third man, Gary Wilson, to successfully retain his maiden ranking title, after John Parrott and Mark Allen. So it was some achievement. And of course, it was achieved in extraordinary circumstances when you consider his semi-final against Zhou Yulong, when at one stage he needed 3 snookers in the final frame, ended up getting 2 snookers to tie, and then potted the respotted black for victory before dispatching Noppon Sankam in the final. So it was a great week for him, and he's having another great week here in Llandudno. But so is John Higgins. He's been very consistent this season again, without, as is well documented, going on to lift a trophy. But of course, he is now the favourite to do so from here on in, and it would be his first for 3 years.
Yeah, he's had a look to see if the black will go, and it does. Well, you can count that a little bit of a let-off for Gary Wilson, because, you know, the way that this guy plays, John Higgins, and of course Gary Wilson as well, that could have been end of frame. He's on the black. Not quite straight enough on this red to be able to screw back for the black. But he's playing it. And it's there. It's a terrific shot. And he's on the black. And this is what I was saying a moment ago. You know, John Higgins misses the long red. Wasn't easy, but survived the frame losing. Gary Wilson's potted it. What can he do? Perfectly played.
Eight.
And he'll want to have a good start, Gary Wilson. Just lay down his marker. And he's here to win.
9.
He's made 4 maximum breaks. That's some feet. 231 century breaks.
16.
Which in the scheme of things isn't as high as what I would have thought for somebody of his calibre.
17.
The talent has always been there, of course, but
24.
as mentioned, the difference now, I think, is that he's proved to himself that not only can he mix it with the best in the world, he can beat them, and be the last man standing in a major tournament. He's done it twice now in the space of 2 seasons. And you can't buy that self-belief, you can't practice for it until you've actually delivered on the big stage. There's always that doubt as to whether you're good enough to do so. Well, that doubt has now been erased, and I think you can see that in the way Wilson goes about his snooker now.
33.
He plays as though he expects to win, not hopes to.
Yeah, very good point, that. And he plays very quickly, very intimidating for his opponent.
40.
Although John is used to being bombarded against and still being able
41.
to pick himself up. Now, choices to make. He could go into them, play for the 3 loose ones.
$48.
So 6 reds, 6 blacks.
49.
Again, got the choice of going into them or just dropping it in, bouncing off the cushion. Well, the bottom red goes, and that in turn releases the other one to the left corner.
56.
So didn't need to go into the reds.
57.
Such a fluent player. He's got a lovely rhythm around the table. Just attractive to watch when he's in full flow, as he has been in this break so far. Still got a bit of work to do to convert it into the first frame of this second semi-final.
Yeah, he could play the cannon to the red just to the right of the pink there. Didn't need to, because they both go to the middle pocket. When you play
64.
cannons, it can go wrong. So if you don't need to, don't play it.
65.
The red just below the pink will go to the right corner. We just had a little look at that.
$72.
Oh, that's frame ball. Can concentrate on the maximum now. As I say, he's had 4 maximums. That's no mean feat.
Goodness, what a start to the semi-final this would be. John Higgins had one of his own in the build-up to this tournament in the Championship League, one of 17 centuries he made last week. To make one in a major tournament
81.
like this, in a major semi-final, well, that's extra special. And that is all they'll be thinking about now, the frame safely secured.
88. 89.
Yeah, what a great chance, isn't it?
This is the 33rd edition of the Welsh Open. We've had 10 maximum breaks. The first way back in
96.
1999, Ronnie O'Sullivan against James Wattenart. Most recently, Sean Murphy against Daniel Wells last year.
97.
This for the century. But he's got grander ambitions than that. The crowd very excited.
104.
And John Higgins, you can be sure, will be rooting for him, and he's missed the red. Oh, what a shame. What a shame. It's a great break. It could have been even better for Gary Wilson. No maximum, but a good start to the evening nonetheless, to put it mildly. He leads John Higgins with a century, 1-0. High drama to start our second Welsh Open semi-final. Very nearly a maximum break from Gary Wilson, failing on the penultimate red when they were all there for him. As John Higgins breaks off in frame 2. Obviously, Joe, Gary will be disappointed not to make it, but if you were going to put a positive spin on it from his point of view, if he had made it, that arguably could have been a distraction for the remainder of the evening.
Yeah, because he would have been thinking, I've made a maximum, and, you know, he'd have been overjoyed with that, and rightly so. But now he can concentrate on trying to get into the final, trying to win this match. No maximums. Okay, he'd have been disappointed, but he'll soon get over that. He made a century, an opening century break in the semi-final. What more do you want?
One man who will be happy is Robbie Williams, who, of course, owns the top break of 146, which he made in qualifying.
What a scene. Packed house. And couldn't have asked for a better start. Possible maximum century break from Gary Wilson. And a great reply that from where he was. I mean, right from his opening shot, Gary Wilson got out of a tough snooker and left it absolutely safe. His safety play has been exemplary so far. And that cue ball very nearly caught that middle pocket bump.
Just a moment of calm after the near storm of a maximum. But Gary Wilson, as the disappointment of not making it dies down, will be pretty happy with the start he's made. He was typically fluent in that break, just as he was last night in whitewashing Anthony McGill. So the perfect beginning for him. As mentioned, just the third meeting, or they've only had 3 meetings prior to tonight. Wilson's solitary win of the 3 came in the Northern Ireland Open. That was 7 years ago. And of course, Higgins beating Wilson at this stage of this tournament on his way to his record-breaking 5th Welsh Open. The last of his 31 titles, though, 3 years ago at the Players' Championship when he was unbeatable. Incredible week. He only lost 4 frames in the 4 matches he played. He reduced Mark Selby to just 7 points in their match.
Incredible.
And they were best of 11s. Just missing the thin edge of the red, though.
Now, the important thing is, has he left a red on for Gary Wilson? He got very close to hitting that red, which would have turned it into a good safety. Yep, he can pot it, but what can he do with the cue ball? It looks very difficult to get that cue ball out of that area. Good pot. And didn't get it out of the area, but that's the next best thing. He's perfectly on the black. He gave it a lot of thought, but he couldn't have asked for a nicer kiss. Higgins still hasn't potted a ball yet, and he may not do in this frame. The red closest to the black cushion could be the ball to take. That will lead him back to the black again. And you could say he's on another maximum.
9.
And I'm saying that, but I'm only half in jest because the balls are so nicely spread here. I wouldn't be too surprised if he got well into it.
16. 17.
The reds are certainly invitingly spread.
Well, that used all the pocket. But he's on choice of reds to both corners.
Yeah, I think he was slightly distracted there. He threw his head to the left as he was on his shot. I think there was some sort of distraction there. But happily for him, no damage done. And the break continues. And how big is this break going to be?
$25. Yes.
Yeah, just overrun slightly, but again, it shouldn't be a problem, this, but he would have liked to have not been using the long rest.
$33.
So 5 reds, 5 blacks. And we're off again.
41.
The 2 reds directly above the black spot. The nearest one to the black will go to the right corner.
Oh, this is incredible, really. What a start to the semi-final. I mean, when you're playing a match with so much riding on it, all you're thinking about at the outset, in this case, is to get to 6 frames.
49.
But it could have been a maximum in the first, and he's on for it again in the second. And you'd have to say, on the face of it, this is every bit as good a chance as he had in that opening frame. Something of a surprise when he missed the red, the 14th. First things first, make sure of the frame for 2-0. John Higgins has another look in. It's that long red.
Yeah, that's all important, isn't it? It's all right chasing big breaks,
57.
maximums, centuries, but there comes a point where you have to win the frame first. If that means still staying on the black, so be it. Oh, well and good. And so far, he has been absolutely inch perfect with his positional play. The referee just can't find the black.
Well, that will definitely scupper his hopes. Happily, he has found it. John Pellew officiating this one. John Higgins, well, he's been hit by a barrage so far this evening.
Yeah, he was attempting a thin safety, wasn't he? Missed the ball. But what a kiss
65.
that Gary Wilson got when he potted the red.
Well, this is frame ball.
Slight applause.
72.
Yeah, the crowd acutely aware once again of what's on here. So that's surely the frame one.
73.
And again now, you can focus on trying to make the perfect break for the second frame in a row. Incredible.
I like the way he played that shot. He gave himself choice of 4 reds there, the way he played it.
Again, John Higgins will be rooting for him, as well as this capacity crowd, now that the frame is well and truly
88.
lost. Higgins, remember, had one himself last week, his 13th. Ronnie O'Sullivan, of course,
89.
inevitably, I guess, is the record holder in that regard with 15.
$96. $97.
Oh, when this black disappears, where we were at in the last frame. Two centuries on the bounce. It could have been 2 maximums on the bounce.
As Alan McManus mentioned, we've had 198 now in professional competition. We've had 9 this season. And we could well be on the way to a 10th now.
12.
This is a test of nerve from here, as much as skill for Gary Wilson. Oh,
113.
1 or 2 members of the crowd thought he'd caught too much of the jaw there, but it's dropped. foot-in-mouth moment, but Wilson looks calm enough. Cool as a cucumber.
Well, that last red didn't say so, but he's perfectly on the yellow. Well, maybe not perfect, but easy enough.
Has there ever been a start to a major semi-final like this one? Wilson missing the 14th red and going for the maximum break in the first frame. Let's not forget he's playing one of the greatest players of all time, and now on the cusp of making it happen in the second.
125.
His heart will be thumping.
$129.
Perfectly played onto the blue. That's just where you want to be.
$134.
Crowd living every shot. 2 more pots to go. Few prayers being said. This is amazing. 104 in the first frame. He missed the 14th red, and now 1 ball away from the maximum. Incredible. Absolutely spectacular from Gary Wilson. What a start to the evening. The 199th 147 break in the history of professional snooker. The crowd on their feet. Brilliant Gary Wilson. A 147 for a 2-0 lead. What a night here in Llandudno.
Well, the scene's absolutely tremendous, and what a moment for Gary Wilson. Congratulations to him. We were absolutely loving that, Alan, Ronnie, Jimmy and myself. And to miss the 14th red in the previous frame and to go out in frame 2 to make that 147, brilliant.
Absolutely amazing. You know, snooker players strive for perfection. You know, that break was absolutely perfection. He was never the wrong side of a ball once. You know, the first red he potted. OK, got a nice little kiss here on the black. But after this next shot, you know, he was absolutely on every ball perfect. Fantastic, Ron.
Yeah, brilliant break, you know, especially after the first frame. You know, nearly had one in the first frame and just come out there and do that again.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, Ronnie. 28 reds, 28 blacks in the colours. Not a bad start to a match, isn't it? Actually, as far as the maximum itself, I don't think I've ever seen a maximum with such pinpoint accuracy, pretty much on every ball, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, perfect. We was talking there that, you know, he's going to play on 2 reds there, get the red out of in the middle out the way. But, you know, this is just absolutely, this looks a bit, oh, hello, but it was always in, and, you know, like, fantastic break. Brilliant, you know, and delighted for him.
That felt like the only scary moment, Ronnie, that red wiping its feet.
The yellow was dodgy as well, because obviously he's got to come across because the green wasn't on its spots, and he played that really well. So, no, he played it perfectly, you know. And enjoying that little celebration there, look.
Well, it's good. I mean, you've got to celebrate these moments. His 5th career 147, German Masters 2014, World Championship qualifying in 17. He's done one in the Championship League, and he's done one in the UK Championship as well. So he is a bit of a scoring machine, as we've seen in the past, Jim. Yeah,
make no mistake. You know, like that. Honestly, as Alan said, that was pinpoint every shot. You know, when you know, you get in that situation, sometimes you might go a bit low, and you might have to play one with a bit of side. Everything was spot on.
Aren't we lucky? We have got the best seats in the house right now, and you do at home as well, so stay with us. Brilliant scenes here in Llandudno. It's Gary Wilson leading John Higgins 2 frames to 0.
Well, just when you think you've seen everything in this great game of snooker, something else appears to confound you. What a start to the evening for Gary Wilson. Incredible. $104 in the first frame, missing a very gettable 14th red, and you might have thought that could have deflated him a little, even though, of course, he won the frame of the century. Second frame makes a maximum. And poor old John Higgins has spent almost the entire evening so far warming his chair, but he was just as pleased, Joe, as everyone else in this audience to see Gary achieve that perfect break?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, John would have been really pleased for him, especially when the frame was lost. You know, he'd have been willing him on. 147. He's not a stranger to 147s, of course. John Higgins, he's made 13.
Thank you.
I mean, that's a tough shot at the best of times, but Higgins, of course, is ice cold. He's only had a handful of shots so far tonight, and he's left another chance here for Wilson to get going again on the black. Has he come far enough?
Well, it's tight, isn't it? It's very tight. He might just be able to drop it in, but I'm not sure if he can do anything at all with the cue ball. Now it's the pink.
Can we set please, Gary?
Don't like pinks.
Just a 146 in this frame then.
Seven.
Part of the challenge for Wilson now is just to come down from the high of what he's just achieved, but he certainly looks very cool, doesn't he? He looks in the zone. I mean, clearly he's cueing beautifully, but sometimes it can be a bit of an adrenaline rush that can affect your concentration after doing something that monumental.
$15.
Because you once had a maximum made against you in this tournament, Joe.
Yeah, Barry Pinchers made a maximum. Very first shot he played, made a 147. And then when he went to the toilet after making the break, I said, well, it can't get any worse than that, can it? Well, he made a 135 as well. So, Gary Wilson just not letting John Higgins at the table. And what can you do if your opponent's scoring? You can only sit and admire, prepare yourself in case you do get a chance. Nice little cannon there he played to the red, leaving himself on choice of 3 reds, actually. Delightful little shot, that.
22.
Again, flirting with danger, but the pocket accepted it.
Yeah, not the first time this evening that the full width of the pocket has been required, but when you're queuing as Wilson is, everything seems to go your way. There was a heart in the mouth moment, wasn't there, at the back end of that maximum into this left corner. What a break though, what a moment.
Now, is he on this red directly above the black?
29.
Does it go? No, it doesn't, but the one above it does. Can get to the blue.
30.
And this is also demonstrating another of the unique facets of this game of snooker, the fact that John Higgins Gary Wilson's
35.
opponent is absolutely powerless to do anything about this. All he can do is sit in his chair and remain in his own bubble of concentration in the hope that he'll get an opportunity, but he's not being allowed to get one. He was restricted to that long-range red attempt right at the start of the match, which he missed. Wilson stepped in with the century.
Yeah, it was a thin safety in the last frame, wasn't it? He missed the ball completely. The game is so easy at the moment for Gary Wilson.
$44. $49.
The red above the black to the left will go to the right corner. Just needs to finish high on the blue. Well, he's got choices. He could go into them, but he could also play for that loose red next to the pink. And may just be able to nudge
55.
Another red out. It's going to need another red.
56.
So, into the reds, unless there's a plant there. John just checking the scoreboard. But he is going to need another red in the colour. Well, if this one goes, and it looks like he's played for that red.
63.
It's a plant. And I wouldn't expect him to miss this.
Amazing stuff, this, from Gary Wilson. It's just a relentless barrage of breaks. Well over 300 points now without reply in terms of monopolising the table. It doesn't get any more impressive than this.
69.
And that was frame ball, barring Snookers, so another red to make sure of a 3-0 lead.
Yeah, John Higgins, no stranger as well, inflicting this kind of damage on opponents. I can remember him doing this to a couple of opponents, top-class players as well.
70.
Could it be another century? He once made 4 on the bounce, Gary Wilson.
76.
Yeah, good shot.
77.
It was in the UK Championship against Chris Wakelin. 4 centuries on the bounce. Incredible. Needs a good cannon here. Oh, he needed a little touch. Possible double.
82.
No third century, but snooker doesn't get much better than this. It's a wonderful performance so far from Gary Wilson, and no surprise that John Higgins is coming to the table, because he just wants to remind himself of what it's like to pot one which he hasn't this evening. Wants a bit of a feel for the conditions. Entirely sensible for him to do this.
Yeah, and he could have potted one there, but he just wants to slow Gary Wilson down a moment. You know, just play a few shots, get the feel of the table. I mean, he hasn't had much chance whatsoever this evening so far, John Higgins. And this is a new cloth, so needs to get used to this cloth.
Higgins has had enough.
Gary Wilson.
And he must wonder what's hit him this evening. 104, 147 and 82. It's all Gary Wilson. He's already halfway to the final. John Higgins preparing to break off. He must feel as though this match hasn't really started for him yet. He's been reduced to spectator in the face of the sustained brilliance from Gary Wilson, but as Joe mentioned, Higgins more than capable of doing something similar if he gets the chance, and so far he's had precious few of them. Wilson already within 3 frames of the final. 104, 147, 82. Higgins' only points was before he got him fouls right at the start of the match.
Oh, very similar, this red, to the one that he missed. Brilliant shot. The one that Higgins missed, should I say. Swung that cue ball round the back of the black. All that top spin throws the cue ball wide and just managed to miss the black and the red. And if he can win this frame, and especially at one visit, he'd love to be able to stay out there scoring.
4.
Hoping for his 5th ranking final appearance, going for a hat-trick of titles, of course, after his back-to-back triumphs in Edinburgh, the Scottish Open. And he is a perfectionist, Gary Wilson. He's not happy just to win. He likes to win playing well. Well, I think he will have satisfied those desires with the way he's cued so far this evening. It's been nigh on perfect from him. But he hasn't won yet.
And a delight to watch, I was just going to add. What a treat the crowd have had so far. But they've come here to see a match, not a runaway. And they're looking to see that man, John Higgins, start to contribute himself. But you need a chance to do that.
12.
That's the thing, isn't it? He's been completely starved of such a chance.
Well, nobody could have played any better than Gary this evening so far. 3 chances, 3 frames, 1. And the maximum included. Could have been 2.
20. $27. 28.
Well, he wanted to leave an angle on the black to be able to split the reds, but just a little bit too low for comfort. But everything going Gary's way at the moment. Now, is he on a red? He's split them nicely. So if he is on a red, he's got every chance of winning the frame here, and he is on a red. Devastating snooker so far. Oh, he's hit that full in the face.
Gary said 35.
So finally, the avalanche of points halted with a surprising error. What happened here?
I think he was scared of hitting the other red, actually. You know, he's thrown his arms in the air as if to say that the ball's moved in some way, but I'm afraid that was just a miss, a bad miss.
Well, what a big moment this is in the semi-final. John Higgins has got to try and make full capital of this unexpected opportunity, because it was beginning to look as though Wilson was going to enjoy a clean sweep before the interval. He was on course there for his 14th consecutive frame in this tournament.
And still might be. John Higgins has got to find something from somewhere. And if you look at all those reds surrounding the pink, they all seem to be covering one another. Maybe the red by the pink spot will go. Oh dear. Didn't catch them full enough. And he knows it.
5, Gary Wilson.
You could say he was unlucky, but he didn't catch the reds full enough. Look at this again. Caught it half ball. I think it was a good shout to go into the reds because, as I said, the reds were covering one another. So this red to the right corner, and he's taking his time over this red because the natural shot would be for the cue ball to go into the red. So he's going to have to play this with left-hand side and lots of it, or try and screw around the back of the reds. And that's the side that's cost him to miss that. So John Higgins with another chance. And that's just what he needed, you know, a let-off. What can you do now, John? Tremendous amount of left-hand side on the cue ball there. And that hasn't gone according to plan. Just caught that red, didn't he? I think he was playing round for the blue, but catching that red sent the cue ball into a different direction. And a break.
Ball. John Higgins won.
It's become a seismic frame in its significance. Higgins with 2 scoring chances, only 2 points to show, but of course if he can win this frame, then he's back in the match. If he loses it, then he's got a huge task on his hands from 4-0 behind in a race to 6.
Got to try and get that cue ball dead on the cushion. And that's pretty good. You could play the red. That's in the balk area, just above the yellow. He's looking at the red to the middle, though. And this is very, very risky. take on. No, just trying to get back behind the black. Played it well. I did expect him to play the red in the baulk area, but John Higgins likes to play this type of game, playing the cue ball behind the black. If I was Gary Wilson, I'd try and keep this game flowing and play that red just above the yellow. Doesn't have to send it back down the table, just bounce it off the baulk cushion to the baulk line. He's thought of it. Could be thinking about getting the cue ball back behind the black. The red to the middle is surely too risky to take on. He's 4-0 down if he takes that one on and misses it. 3-1. He's really back in it after the barrage. Yeah, he just didn't quite get that cue ball close enough to the cushion last time round, John. And that allowed Gary to get that cue ball back there. Got to try and get it dead. He's underhit it. Can Gary be tempted by something?
Can feel the tension in the air. On the face of it, Wilson in complete control of this match. It's been one-way traffic, but he knows how important this frame is He knows what Higgins is capable of if he gets the table time in the second half of the match. So it's a vital frame in terms of the contest tonight. And that's a good shot from Higgins.
Yeah, that's dead under the cushion, isn't it? So now has to think of something different. And with that red nearest the green pocket, it's making things very difficult for Gary Wilson. Had that red not been there, he could have dropped the cue ball on the baulk cushion. But he can't play that shot. He may even take this red on, which is risky, but he might not have another option. Oh, brilliant pot. Brilliant pot. Had to get it. Look where the cue ball is.
Well, that's just too good, isn't it? I mean, he's tight under the rail, as you say. He's just stroked that in. How do you play against snooker like that?
Well, actually, I think he tried to leave the cue ball a little bit closer to the cushion so he couldn't pot that red to the right corner. But he had left it on. Well, maybe try and get that cue ball in behind the black. Nothing easy to go for, no easy pot. Don't think he can get in behind the black, but he could get the cue ball to the black cushion. Could also play the cue ball to the baulk cushion.
Blue ball.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Gary was 1.
Yes, the red is on to the middle, but you've got to get it if you go for it.
Higgins has only potted 2 balls so far in the semi-final, both in this frame. Just looking for something to build on after the interval. If he could somehow scramble his way to this frame, then he's definitely back in the match.
Superb. Superb. What a shot. And again, he'd left the game on, had that not gone in. A little nod from Gary Wilson, acknowledging that terrific pot. What a brave pot to take on.
Well, if John Higgins goes on to win this frame and indeed the match this evening, he'll look back on that moment as an important one indeed, because he showed a lot of guts there.
That could have dropped kinda though. This isn't a gimme. The red that's on the yellow spot doesn't know what's happening to the cue ball.
Eight.
It was another good pot, but he had to put everything into the pot.
Blue ball. John Higgins, 8.
Might just leave the cue ball on the baulk cushion here. There's no easy path back down the table. He's took the risk. Doesn't want the kiss. I think he's been a little fortunate there. Well, that was a very clever shot he played there, taking the red on, but playing the cue ball to that right side cushion. Okay, yeah, he might have left that red to the yellow pocket, but that's fraught with danger. I'd be surprised if he took it on. May feel he's got no option.
Already by a distance, the longest frame of the evening after that torrent of breaks. An absolutely vital one from John Higgins' point of view. He's been blitzed so far this evening, but with that in mind, a 3-1 reverse at the interval wouldn't be a bad result. Plenty of time for him to overturn a 2-frame deficit. If he were 4 behind, well, that really would be a tall order even for the great man, who, remember, is looking for his first ranking title since the Players' Championship almost exactly 3 years ago. He's 32nd in all.
Well, I can't really see any other shot for him but try and get that cue ball back to the baulk cushion and send both these reds down the table. Well, it's a tough red to the left middle, and it's fraught with danger. Has to get it if he goes for it. Tough shot this. The cue ball, every chance of drifting away from the red before it gets there. It only has to move slightly. Good pot. But not out of trouble yet. Now, maybe try and push a colour safe. Got a 32-point lead. I'm not sure if the pink will go to the right corner. It does. What a big shot that was. and possibly a frame winner. It's a brave shot to play that.
7.
Tremendous cueing from the side cushion. What a mini session this is proving to be for the underdog.
8.
Well, 2 great shots there, really. The red to the middle, dropping it in, but the pink, well, if it didn't go in, every chance of losing the frame. And he's thinking positive.
39 the lead, so the brown and the red would be enough to leave Higgins needing a snooker.
Yeah, and he was going to play the green and come down the table for the red, but as you say, brown and the red, don't overthink it.
A very different frame to the previous 3, but every bit as important, arguably more so
12.
in terms of Wilson's ambitions to make the Welsh Open final. For 4-0, and it's there.
13.
And it's been an incredible evening for the reigning Scottish Open champion so far. The job is not done. You can never count out a champion like Higgins, but what an evening he's had. This is dreamland for Gary Wilson. It's also a 14th consecutive frame in this tournament, which is pretty remarkable. And for John Higgins, well, he's had a couple of chances in this frame, but he's been generally completely glued to his chair in the other 3 frames, watching
20.
Wilson pod all the balls.
Yeah, and you've got to say, it's been a real pleasure watching him pot all the balls. He's been superb, Gary Wilson.
26.
And nobody could have done anything about the first 3 frames. Had a small chance in this one, Higgins.
27.
Any thoughts that he might be a little deflated by not making the 147 in the first frame? Swiftly dispelled in making the max in the second, and then another frame-winning break in the third, and he's shown his mettle in this one at the back end of it with those back-to-back pots which
31.
were missable under pressure, not least the pink from close to the side cushion. That was the key to putting himself in the most commanding of positions, and 2 frames away from playing for the title against Martin O'Donnell tomorrow.
36. 40.
An incredible mini session of snooker, and it's been strictly one way in favour of Gary Wilson. A maximum break, the 5th of his career, and he's within 2 frames of playing for the Welsh Open title. John Higgins must wonder what's hit him. It's been a barrage of brilliance from Wilson, who leads by 4 frames to 0.
Enjoyed the most wonderful session of snooker. Gary Wilson leading John Higgins 4 frames to 0. Jimmy White, marks out of 10 for that display.
Oh, brilliant. Definitely a 9, you know. It was like incredible stuff. The 147 was 10 out of 10 because every shot was absolutely, you know, pinpoint position. But John Higgins only had a small chance in the last frame, put a good red in the middle, lost position on the pink, but he hasn't really had any table time at all. Wilson's been awesome.
A 9, he's a tough man to please, isn't he? It was great, wasn't it, Ron?
Yeah, it was great. I know what Jimmy means, though, just the full frame, you know, like when you're looking at perfect snooker, sometimes it's like an 80, 90, 90, 100, just like no mistake snooker. There's a few balls missed in the 4th, but I have to give him a 10 for the two,
yeah.
for the maxi and the nearly one, and the nice 80 in the next, and for being human and missing a few in the next, so... Yeah.
OK, well, let's get straight into it then. We'll get to the 147, but that was second time lucky because in the first frame, Gary missed the 14th red. He started the match with a century. Brilliant stuff.
It was amazing. I mean, John misses this red, OK, and he probably walks back to his chair thinking, do you know what, I might just have gotten away with that, but Gary plays the long raking red dead weight into the far right corner, and then he plays this nice little cannon and he just shoves another red, couple of reds away from the black spot area, and you think, oh, wait a minute, this has got a bit of a sort of 147 look about it, guys, isn't it?
Yeah, he's just been phenomenal, really. You know, that first frame just very clinical, and then to go on and do it in the next as well was unbelievable, really.
And then on to the next, Ronnie. You mentioned it was unbelievable. I don't know if it happens all that much. You have an attempt at a 147 and then you go and make it in the very next frame.
Maybe he was just so annoyed that he didn't make that one there that he thought, you know what, if I get around, like he's got in around here and the reds are nice, and he thought, I'm just going for it. You just don't know, you know, in a player's mind, he might have been that frustrated, you know, and that's motivated him to go on and actually make the 147. So, but some nice positional play, Jim, isn't there? Like, he's just
very controlled. Every shot was like, you know, inch perfect. You know, this one sort of wiped its feet a bit, but it was always going to drop. He knew it was in. And you said about the yellow, he had to make sure that he bounced up for the green, because he, you know, you can under-hit this sometimes.
Yeah, under-hit it, over-hit it, sort of just not play it right and snook yourself on the green, you know, but he hit that perfectly.
Yeah, I think it's one thing making a 147, but to make it as easily as he made it look, yes, the reds are all there, but as Jimmy says, pinpoint, dot to dot, and it was perfect pretty much every shot from start to finish.
It was
magical, yeah.
Yeah, magic. And it's always great, isn't it, to be here witnessing a live 147, his fifth in his career. And then we get to frame 3 and he's at it again. A lovely break, Jimmy, of 82, Gary Wilson. John Higgins must be thinking, hold on, what have I got to do tonight?
Yeah, what's going down here? But, like, you know, John misses this by quite far, really. You know, OK, he's unlucky where it's finished up, but, you know, this pink here just goes in. He's like just about drops, but once that's dropped, how he's cueing and playing and his cue ball control, you fancy he's going to win the frame from there anyway, because he's full of confidence. This is a really nice split run, go in early, open the balls up.
Yeah, he didn't bash him either. He's just kind of got a solid enough contact to get a few out. The little screw back there, you know, he's just, good stuff, really. You know, he's a powerful scorer once he gets going.
And that was 368 points unanswered, so fourth frame significant, and you're thinking, come on, Mr. Higgins, can you step up to this tonight, Al?
Yeah, he had a couple of chances, didn't he? But Gary was sort of keeping him at bay, and obviously he's got the cold arm thing with John, with reasons that we know about. That's a nice pot, though, from Gary to set up the chance, and this is the key shot of the frame, actually the key shot of the session, because 3-1, 4-0, massive. And when that disappeared, we knew 4-0 was going to be the number.
Indeed, and a magical 147 break. Ronnie, you've had 15 in your career. We've had 199 all told in the game. How many more do you think you would have had if you maybe kept trying to make them in recent years?
I don't know, probably maybe had another 5 or 6, but yeah, I went on strike a long time ago.
Are you going to stay on strike?
Yeah. Well, until they start bumping up the prize money, then I might take the risk.
What if they offered 147,000 for the 200th 147? Would you give it a crack?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's dangling a carrot. Hopefully we can come up with that. But yeah, it's very special still in this game. Jimmy, you're part of the elusive 147 club yourself.
Yeah, there's a special bonus going on now, isn't there? If you make 2 in one of the 3 Triple Crowns, isn't it?
UK Championship and the World Championship.
Someone's had one, haven't they?
Yeah.
And they can do it in the world.
Ding Junhui and Mark Allen are on track.
No, not Mark Allen, someone else.
He made it at the Masters.
I think, was it Juice or someone or someone like that? But anyway,
No, he made it at one of the UK qualifier. Right. So if he makes one in the World Championships, I think he gets 147,000, isn't it?
Yeah. Good luck with that one.
And Ding Junhui and Mark Allen as well, both of them making 147s at the Masters. So.
Oh yes, you're correct. Yeah,
Thank you.
Rachel, the stats lady.
I don't know. I'm the woman in trying to keep control of you tonight. That's all I know. We'll be back with final predictions, and of course we'll be getting this match back underway. And a complete dominant performance, devastating stuff from Gary Wilson so far. Can he win 2 more, or will there be a fight back from John Higgins? Find out right after the break. Hello, welcome back. The Ray Reardon Trophy is the final title of our Home Nation series, and we have already got one man through to tomorrow's final, Martin O'Donnell. And right now in our second semi-final, he has been absolutely awesome. Gary Wilson 4, John Higgins 0. Of course, it is a race to 6. And just behind the scenes, let's get backstage. Gary Wilson staying in the zone, keeping in the moment. He's at the practice table, Jim.
Yeah, you can't get enough, you know, and you do get that feeling when you're playing well. You know, you just keep wanting to pop balls, and I suppose it's, you know, keeping his mindset on the job, you know, like some people have a routine and practice in the interval, some don't. You know, he just probably just, like, he's having a chat there. But, you know, for John Higgins to win this match, it is possible, but he's got to come out and, you know, get cueing straight away and win a frame in one visit. But tough task, because Wilson's very clever, Alan, isn't he? He doesn't sort of make any doesn't push the boat out even though he's well in front.
Yeah, John's going to have to earn this, not even the victory, just even getting back into this. If that's going to happen. I think it's smart by Gary to get in the practice room and just not sit and dwell on I should win tonight, all that stuff. You're just playing.
Well, you're keeping those feelings, aren't you? And obviously staying on track, staying in your lane. And we're talking about 4-0, can it be turned around? Well, in 2018, the semi-final of the Scottish, Daniel Wells was 4-0 up against Mark Allen. Mark Allen won the match, and it can be done. 6-5 he won. Do you think that John will win tonight?
I don't think he'll win now because he's obviously 4-0 down, but is it possible? Yeah, of course it is, you know. John's a great player. I think Gary's got to go off a bit, you know, start missing a few. 4-2. It's a different game.
Will Gary get a little bit maybe shaky now that he's expected to win? I don't know, what will his mindset be like?
I think he's good. I think he's good under pressure. I think he's in a good place at the moment. He's certainly playing well, so, you know, I think any challenge, any shot he's going to get, he's going to be comfortable with. So I can't see him dipping, but I can't see him playing as well as that either. So.
Well, it'll be impossible. Well, maybe it is possible. Who knows what we can see from Gary Wilson. But John will see this as a challenge to get back into this match. A big challenge, but he'll be up for it.
Good point. I think Ronnie's hit the nail on the head. John has to win the first 2 frames and take it from there. If he doesn't win the first 2, it's pretty much done. OK, well, let's get this on and back to our commentary team then for the second semi-final here at Venue Cymru. It's Joe Johnson and Philip Studd.
Thank you. The 5th frame, Gary Wilson to break.
So Gary Wilson getting us back underway. What an extraordinary 4 frames he put together there. 418 points, plays 14. That is a measure of Wilson's dominance so far. Higgins had a couple of chances in the only tight frame of the evening, the one before the interval, but no cigar. So it's going to take something extremely special, even by this man's standards, to turn this around. But if anyone can do it, it'll be Higgins. He's more than capable of reeling off centuries himself. First, he's got to get the chance to make one. He's had precious few so far this evening, bar that 4th frame, almost nothing really. Took on a long red in the opening frame, and that was about as good as it got until the 4th. But it's much more to do with the quality of Gary Wilson's snooker this evening than it's been Higgins making mistakes. It's been a fantastic performance, but Joe, he's still got to finish the job. He's still got to win 2 more frames.
Yeah, and the pressure may mount as he gets closer to the winning line. Pot success, obviously, has got to improve for Higgins, 56%.
Yeah, he's only potted 5 balls, Higgins, tonight. It was against 110 from Wilson, so has been complete dominance from the underdog. But that's the way of this sport. When your opponent's playing as well as Wilson is, it doesn't matter who's in the other chair. All they can do is sit and watch. Can Higgins find some inspiration?
could have left the red on, but nothing to go at. But chance to open the balls up here and try and get him behind the yellow and brown. I think he's got to stay attacking, John. Well, that's what he's played, just a little pacey. Certainly open the reds up.
The other remarkable statistic is that Gary Wilson is now going for his 15th consecutive winning frame in this tournament. Won a decider against Jack Lazowski in the third round. Since then, 4-0 over Rob Milkins, 5-0 last night over Anthony McGill, and of course he's won all 4 this evening.
Yeah, terrific safety. Tap on the table there from Gary. Lots of check on the cue ball, right-hand side, to check it back down the table.
I'll have another look as well, yeah. Okay, thank you, Gary.
John Pellew just making a mental note of where the cue ball is in case there's a foul and a replacement. Higgins' recent barren run when it comes to titles has been defined by getting into winning positions and then having the victory snatched from his grasp at the last.
Well, that's certainly going to help, getting the run of the ball like that. It was a good safety, good cue ball, but seeing that red disappear is really a real bonus, isn't it? Perfectly on the yellow to get back down to the reds.
Yeah, so this is a completely different situation for Higgins. He's got to come from this huge deficit, try and turn things around. Very little room to manoeuvre now, but first things first, get his first frame, ideally with a sizable break, and then try and build from there.
Yeah, it took the more difficult brown there to come back down the table, and he hasn't finished ideally on this red. To the middle. I have to try and check this cue ball back down for the pink.
6.
Managed to hold it. It's going from bad to worse, and where the pink's gone, Gary Wilson doesn't have to do much with the cue ball in potting this next red.
You've got to think that that miss is partly down to scoreboard pressure. And how relentless his opponent has been this evening when he's had chances. Higgins has had very little table time, really. Just 8 balls potted. His highest break, just 8. Oh, but that's very uncharacteristic of what we've seen from Gary Wilson tonight. A real let-off there for Higgins.
Yeah, even though he hasn't left, he may not have left anything. This won't do his mind any good. Not sure if he's left a red on or not. But this is very awkward. The red to the right corner, not guaranteed to be on a colour, and that's if he pots it. Yeah, good pot, but the black is just as tough, if not tougher. I think he's got to try and go on a stampede of some kind and go for his shots and hope he gets a run going, and that is a brilliant pot. Close to the cue, close to the object ball, very difficult to judge.
8. 9.
Black now available to the right corner. Well, the boys said in the studio that John's going to need some help. And he is. He needs Gary Wilson to miss the odd 1 or 2, but he also
15.
needs to punish. Not quite hard enough for the red he played for, the one closest to the left corner. Has he gone too hard? He has, so it's the yellow. He did well, actually, to hold it to where he has done. And the yellow, not easy. John desperate to punish that mistake by Wilson. Still going, just. It's just not going his way at the moment.
Thank you. 18.
Pink on the yellow spot, pink spot taken, so the yellow as close as it can go to its own spot. This break isn't getting any easier for Higgins. It's a break that, well, he probably didn't expect to have the chance to make, but here's another real tester for him.
What a brilliant pot. What a cracking pot that was. Everybody liked that one, except the man that was looking on there, Gary Wilson. Still not out of the woods yet, though. Higher on the blue than he would have liked to have been.
$24.
'Yeah, nicely
25.
played. He just had the angle to run through for the black. The cue ball came so close to catching the reds. Good pot, good position.
He's had to work very hard to get himself into this position where he can start to entertain thoughts of his first meaningful visit to the table in this match.
$32. $33.
Well, if you can play a cannon to the red just below the black, he's looked to see what kind of an angle he would have in potting the red. Just needs to touch it, just like that.
$40. $41.
He needs some kind of an angle on this black because all those reds are covering one another. So he needs to get into them some way, and he's a little straight there. He can do it, but he may have to pinch a little bit on the pocket. And we saw him pinch something similar type of black to this. Missed the black off the spot, trying to just pinch a little.
$48.
54 the lead. Red colour red. And that couldn't have gone any better. He's dug deep in this frame. Higgins potted some good balls.
Yes, the mid-range red after the long-range yellow was a key shot. Lots of pressure on it. He had to get it, and he did. And now, finally,
54.
He's within sight of registering his first frame and just maybe planting a seed of doubt in the mind of Gary Wilson, who missed a relatively easy red after Higgins had erred on the pink.
55.
One of the very few errors he's made tonight, and he's been punished for it.
Yeah. Now, can he get it out of his mind? That's the question, Philip. So easy to dwell on misses.
You can be certain of one thing, that this man will not give it to him. He will make him work for the victory.
63.
Higgins, the ultimate competitor, who did precious little wrong, really, in the first four frames. He had a couple of chances in the fourth, but it was mainly about the brilliance of Wilson.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Philip, but the very first shot, he had a long red to the left corner. And I said, if that red had gone in, he could have won the frame there.
71.
And then a couple of shots later, Gary Wilson knocks the long red in and wins the frame.
This is just confirmation of what we knew already, that Higgins' game is in great shape. He's played exceptionally well all week. Very convincing victory
79
over Mark Allen. Player who's given him some problems in recent times. Survived a final frame decider prior to that against Matt Selt, winning on the final blue.
86.
He's been queuing really well. Didn't have much of a chance to queue well early in this match, but this has been classy, given the circumstances, the context, and how hard he had to work initially.
Yes, a pink ball. So did I.
Just clarification that he's going for the pink here. Yeah, it's been a very impressive break from Higgins. He's still got plenty to do, but you've got to start somewhere, and this is a pretty good start to his bid for a momentous fight back. No century for Higgins, but a vital intervention. He stops the rot in style after Gary Wilson had a chance and missed a relatively easy red. Higgins closes to 4-1. Not quite a career 989th century for John Higgins, but it was a superb 93 nonetheless. Having missed a pink to allow Gary Wilson a chance potentially to make it 5-0. Wilson then missed a red, and Higgins made the very most of his reprieve. So, 4-1. Is this the beginning of a remarkable fight back, or just a bump in the road for Gary Wilson on his way to 6 frames he needs in all to book a place in the Welsh Open final with Martin O'Donnell?
Yeah, what a great pot. After sitting out most of the last frame, that was a good one. Just looking at the red and black there, it doesn't look as though the red will go next to the black. So I've got to concentrate. The rest of the colours, black unavailable. Well, he's under-hit that, or over-hit it, whichever way you want to look at it. Yeah, long way off.
Gary Wilson, 3.
Yeah, good pot, but where's the cue ball?
For Gary Wilson.
Had to put everything into the pot. He knew it. Saw it coming across the table, he knew it was in. Just can't see enough of that red to pot it. It would have been a tough pot anyway. Oh, well, did I say he'd left it safe? What about that? He's a great shot maker, you know, Gary Wilson. Brilliant pot. Does he play the yellow or the safety? It's gone for the yellow. And it stayed out.
Gary Wilson.
Just missing the odd one or two now. We did say that John's going to need some help from Gary Wilson. Never easy, that, though. And full marks for taking it on.
One.
Not sure if you can just touch the pink, get in behind it. He could certainly come off the left side cushion and drop in behind the pink.
One or two errors just crept into Wilson's game, which will give Higgins encouragement. He can build on that excellent 93 break in the previous one.
John Higgins, 1.
Trying to cover that red. Had a quick look to see if he could see that red, which he can. Yeah, just missed that red near the left side cushion. Black now available.
I guess the danger, and it's human nature in a situation when you have such a commanding lead as Wilson does, is that you're tempted to just try and nurse it to the line, become a little more defensive, and that could allow your opponent back in.
Well, reds to both corners. Can he see either of them? Not easy by any means, but it's a chance. The one to the right corner is the safest one to take, but can he see enough of it? The one to the left corner, the cue ball looks to be going into the reds. So I've got to make absolutely sure of the pot. Yeah, good pot. And the yellow sat there waiting. And the reds nicely spread. Big outtake of breath because he knew where that cue ball was going.
3.
And it wasn't going into a favourable place. So it looks like just a safety. He couldn't really hit that much harder. Full concentration. Preparing himself if he gets a chance.
John Higgins, 3.
Well, you wouldn't want to take that one on, would you? Absolutely straight. Can't do anything with the cue ball. No colour for it. That would take some pulling back from there. Oh, found a 4-ball plant. Played the safety, and it was a good safety, you've got to say. But it's going to be even safer in a moment. Make that a 3-ball plant.
Gary will serve 1.
Oh, what an escape. What an escape that was. And how important is it going to be?
Acknowledged by his opponent, yeah, with that little tap on the table. Higgins, on the face of it, looked in trouble there, but he's got himself out of it.
Well, that one's gone all wrong. Nothing easy there, but there is a chance. Red to the middle. Oh, look at that. Easy plant to start with. sure whether you could see those, but you can.
1.
A chance then for Wilson to re-establish complete control of this match, which was just loosened a little by the excellent 93 from Higgins in the previous frame after Wilson had missed a relatively routine red to give him the chance. He's missed a couple in this frame as well, but this is certainly an opportunity to at least build a useful lead.
Yeah, that's what it is, a useful lead, because it's difficult to win the frame at this visit. Not impossible.
15.
The red next to the blue will go to the green pocket and this left corner. Just working things out. 20 points the lead.
$16.
So the last of the easy reds. Needs a little
22.
bit of work to get to the next ones.
$23.
Could have left the cue ball high on the black there to nudge these two reds on the cushion, but decided to play for the red near the middle. And he's just in no man's land.
30.
Little too hard for the middle, not hard enough for the corner. Nice little recovery shot. Could play for the red next to the blue. I'll just drop it in for the red on the cushion. Oh, that's a nice little flick on the pink. It wasn't going to be ideal on that red without the flick.
38.
Lead goes to 43. 59 still available.
Could do with playing for the black here.
39.
Not quite hard enough for an easy black, but if it goes in, then Higgins could only tie. And it's there, just.
Higgins made the safety error and left the plant into this left corner.
46.
And if this red goes in, then it's surely going to be 5-1. And any nerves that Gary Wilson might have felt after Higgins' 93 in the previous frame will be alleviated.
47.
He has huge respect for Higgins, well, everyone does in the game because of what he's achieved. And he would certainly feel that this match is far from won, but he's getting ever closer now.
53.
Just one away.
54.
As he looks to win his third home nations title. And his second this season.
61. 62. 69. 71.
That's 501 points scored now this evening from Gary Wilson. He is a very heavy scorer
78.
when he's in full flow, and he has been for the lion's share of this evening. Nearly a maximum in the first frame. He made the 147 in the second, 80-odd in the third, and now this vital
53.
contribution. Not quite enough there for another ton, but this is exactly what he was looking for after just one or two signs of maybe feeling some tension.
89.
A break of 89 from Gary Wilson
Gary Wilson
to put him on the cusp of his first Welsh Open final against the record 5 times winner John Higgins, now trailing 5-1. Any thoughts of a momentous fight back from John Higgins have just taken a major hit with Gary Wilson getting back in to break building mode with that run of 89 after Higgins' safety mistake to put him 4 up with 5 to play. Martin O'Donnell to play the winner for the Ray Reardon Trophy tomorrow over the best of 17 frames after his victory earlier against Elliot Slessor. Martin finishing with a century, said afterwards that it was the best he'd felt in the whole match, didn't feel any nerves. Great way to seal victory. Elliot Slessor was visibly upset to lose, but very gracious in defeat nonetheless. Is there any way back for John Higgins here?
Well, this red to the corner, he's fraught with danger if he's going to take it on. Looks to be going into the red and black. And it couldn't have gone any worse, could it, for John there? He put everything into that shot. He was on the black, had the red gone in. And he's just not getting any run at the moment. Now, what can Gary Wilson do? Can he knock in one more big break? Started with 104, which could have been a maximum, then followed it with a maximum. 82 in the third. And an 89 in the last.
1.
What he wouldn't give for a 70 plus here.
Eight. 9.
Well, he's okay. He's on the red to the middle. Not the easiest
60.
of reds, but one that you would expect him to get the way he's playing.
$17.
Jimmy White highlighted how perfect Gary Wilson's positional play was in the 147 break. Never in a hint of trouble throughout.
22.
John Higgins was always going to fight for all he was worth to try and turn this around, but it was going to be a tall order from 4-0 behind. Excellent break of 93 in the circumstances to just give himself a glimmer, but to now have to win 5 in a row, well, that really is such a difficult assignment. And of course, at the moment, he's watching Wilson continue to pot them.
Yeah, I was just about to say, he's got to get to the table, hasn't he? To be able to contribute. And it's in this man's hands at the moment. Could play a little cannon to those two reds closest together. That would leave him on the red to the left, the right corner. Could even screw into the reds if he's feeling super confident.
$30. 31.
I feel this time he will go into them. Got to stay positive. Just in case he gets another chance. You just never know at this game.
Would have arrived this evening at the venue with high hopes. John Higgins, he's played some really good stuff this week, determined to end that 3-year wait for a 32nd ranking title, but he's run into a wonderful performance so far from Gary Wilson. Still needs to apply the finishing touches, but he's building a lead.
He spied a plant, and no need to go into the reds when you've got a plant there.
39.
And that has nudged another red out.
Gary Wilson reached his first ranking final back in 2015 when he was well beaten
46.
by Mark Selby in the China Open, won just 2 frames in that best of 19 frame final. But I think the big breakthrough for him was actually the semi-finals at the Crucible. The run that he produced there in 2019 when he beat the likes of Selby and Ali Carter, I think gave him that belief that he could not only compete with the best but beat them. And of course, all of that was confirmed last season with his maiden title
54.
in Edinburgh, which he's now retained.
Yeah, just not come far enough on this red to be able to just play through for the black. May have to play down for the blue, and it's cannoning into the red above it.
55.
Yeah, he couldn't get to the blue. Had to leave himself this difficult black. But if this goes in, every chance of being in the final. But it was high.
Gary Wilson, 55.
He's not ideal on the next red, but it's a life for John Higgins.
Thank you.
John Higgins has made a career out of clearing up from situations like this, 50, 60 odd behind. Needs a really good initial pot to have a chance to get back into this frame. This really is the point of no return now for Higgins.
Brilliant. Great pot. Looking at playing the green or blue and then playing the big pocket, the red, down the right side cushion. He's got choices. He could play the green, the blue, or the black.
6.
Now he's got a choice here. He could decide to go into the reds here or just drop it in dead weight. Good pots, and decided to go into the reds. What a positive pot that was. Playing to go into the reds, open the reds up, because nothing went. Had he not gone into the reds, he'd have had the black, yeah, but no red after it. So came to the table 55 points behind after Gary Wilson had missed the black off its spot. They all go, taken in the right order. Now I think the two reds that are closest together, I think the lower one will go to the right corner. If not, then he's going to play a cannon into them. And that couldn't have worked out any better. The pink has gone into an awkward spot if he gets down that far. It's just made that blue a little bit more difficult for the clearance.
Gary Wilson was within a handful of pots of victory. Just overcut the black on 55.
38.
And now Higgins looking to do what Higgins has always done best, clear up from a big deficit under extreme pressure.
Yeah, I think he actually enjoys this type of game because he knows how much it's going to hurt his opponent. He's overscrewed it slightly. Beautiful little touch.
46.
Wilson will already be thinking about the next frame, I'm sure, given Higgins' track record in this situation.
Well, as I said, you know, the blue is going to be a little bit more difficult than it could have been had the pink not gone that far.
47.
And he's going to need the blue and pink.
$49. 51.
So all important, this positional shot on the brown to be able to get nicely on the blue. Nearly straight he wants to be, not straight, just nearly straight. 54. That looks good. Now, does he play it to the middle or the corner? Big moments. Decided to play it to the middle.
58.
Two pots away from extending the semi-final.
Unbelievable what this man does.
Was it ever in any doubt? The maestro has done it again. From 55 behind, John Higgins, with ice in his veins, nerves of steel, manages to clear up to close the gap to 5-2.
Thank you.
A vintage clearance of 69 from John Higgins to keep his hopes alive. He still has plenty to do, but what a way to stay in contention. And once again, just remind his opponent that he's not done in this match yet. Gary Wilson was very close, missed the black on 55, proved to be his final shot of the frame. He still needs one. Higgins needs the remaining 4.
He's pushed the red out. He's been very consistent at this type of shot. 8 out of 10. That's pretty good. Make that 9 out of 11.
1.
Well, it was a decent kiss, that, because the cue ball would have been in the balk area had it not kissed the blue. Look where the blue's finished, so the white would have finished further down towards the balk cushion. So it gives him a chance of still being on a colour. And that's a beauty. Great shot. Needs to slow down though. Or speed up. Well, maybe the red behind the pink goes, and that is a real bonus. That's a really stroke of good fortune. I don't think he played for that red. Maybe he did.
Four.
You can see 100% rest pot success.
10 out of 10 in this match.
Eleven.
Nice to get the blue back on its spot. Makes the break building a lot easier. I would have liked to have been straighter on this red, come down for the black, but the pink's available.
17.
As is the blue.
$18.
The red
23.
directly above the black will go into this corner just.
24.
Now, if he wants to be ultra attacking, he could go into the pack of reds here with the insurance of that loose red. Doesn't need to hit it too hard. Just enough to nudge a few reds out like that.
31.
Well, so far this has been a great response. From losing that last frame the way he did, missing the black off the spot. Nothing John Higgins can do about it. He's broke off, and his opponent has knocked in a good long red.
Wilson bidding to become just the 5th player since the home nation started in 2016 to win 3 of the tournaments. Judd Trump has the best record with 6, Mark Selby with 4. Neil Robertson and Mark Allen are the other 2 players to have won 3. Wilson, of course, a double Scottish Open champion now.
38.
Well, he's spot on with his positional play. Still got another couple of reds he could play for. One to the left middle, one to the right corner.
$43.
So now we're coming down to the nitty-gritty. This is where he's got to keep calm, get the right side of the blue.
$44.
Doesn't want to be straight, and that's okay. He can work that cue ball. They all seem to be covering one another, unless there's one there that will go. And it looks like there is one that will go.
49.
Has he come too far?
Certainly the body language would suggest so.
Well, looking at it from that angle, it doesn't look as though he can pot that red. And he's right behind. Oh, he's swerving round the red. This is dangerous. I cannot believe that he's played that. I just cannot believe he's played that shot.
And look at what he's left. Are we having a repeat performance from the previous frame? Gary Wilson getting close to clinching victory, but did he push the boat out there, having not landed as he wanted on the red? Who would you rather be right now in this frame? Wilson with a 48-point lead, or Higgins in possession?
Well, he was swerving round the reds there. He didn't even get close to the pot. That was just kind of like clutching at straws. It was the shot previously when he was perfect on the blue, stunning down for the red that he wanted to play for. He just overrun the positional play. Very rare. Gary Wilson. His positional play has been exemplary so far.
8. $9.
So these 4 reds above the black, they're not ideally placed. Had to play a cannon and develop them, and he's on one. And there's a case for saying that he's favourite for this frame now, even though he's still 33 behind. $17. $24. $25.
A golden chance now then for Higgins to close the gap to 2 frames and really give Gary Wilson something to think about. Seemed to be a mighty risky red that he took on in the bid to keep the break going. Perhaps over-eager to see the winning line.
31.
Is he going to pay the price?
I think that's exactly what it was. Over-eager.
32.
Higgins still got to pot them, but as we've already seen this evening and throughout his illustrious career, there's no one better in this situation than punishing with a telling counter-attack.
He needs a bit of help from Higgins. Gary Wilson. This is the red that he played, swerving round the other red. I mean, had it gone in, he'd have won the match. It was such a difficult shot. It wasn't like he was just playing with a bit of side. He actually had to swerve round the red.
$46. 47.
'So Higgins into the lead and the colours at his mercy.
52.
Yeah, just needs the blue.
54.
4-0, it looked bleak indeed
57.
for John Higgins. At 5-1, even more so. And in the last two frames, Gary Wilson has been in to win, but hasn't quite been able to seal the deal.
Yep, just the blue needed. Is the wrong side of the blue, but he won't be too bothered about that. He'd like the pink as well to stop any chance of snookers.
The great man is applying the pressure. He is not going to go down without a big fight.
John Higgins, 66.
So Gary Wilson needs a snooker with only the black to work with. Of course, he was in even more dire straits in his semi-final this season at the Scottish Open, needing 3 snookers at one stage. He eventually got a 4-point and a 5-point snooker to tie at the back end of his match with Zhou Yulong, and then potted the respotted black to get to the final.
It's a great attempt, a great attempt.
Just short of pace.
The importance of getting the right side of the blue, eh? Could be a chance here. Needs to play it with a lot of right-hand side on the cue ball. Got too much on it.
So Higgins with the opportunity to sink this pink and give himself hope of turning this match around. certainly give Gary Wilson plenty to think about. And in it goes. Over the second frame running, John Higgins has come from a large deficit to pinch the frame. Gary Wilson took on a very awkward red in a bid to get over the line. He missed it, and he now leads 5-3. Definitely a different vibe around venue Cymru now. A packed house here in Llandudno, as it's been all week to watch this increasingly thrilling second semi-final. Gary Wilson was almost home and hosed at 5-1, somewhat less so at 5-3, particularly given that in the last 2 frames he's been well in front, he's been close to victory, but hasn't quite been able to close it out. And the red he took on just now, well, certainly looked adventurous, and it proved very expensive when he missed it, swerving round to try and keep the break going. Higgins once again stepped in and did the business to close to 2 behind with 3 to play.
Wow, he caught that middle pocket bump, and that could have gone a lot worse. That cue ball could have come back down the table towards the reds. Just catching this red a little bit too thin. Caught the red much too thin, but the kiss on the green has saved him.
Yeah, maybe the wheel of fortune is turning a little now. Higgins getting himself involved in this match for the first half of it. He was reduced to spectator, but things are different now. The pressure's really on Wilson. He's got one of the greats coming back at him hard.
And the red has gone over the corner pocket. Can Higgins see it? I don't think he can see enough of it to pot it. And there's confirmation. I think he's going to take one of those 2 reds on. Doesn't like either. Great pot. Terrific pot. Now, does the brown pass the green? Beautiful pot. And had he missed the red, it wasn't too badly placed, the cue ball. Looks like he can see the green, actually. Well, there's nothing Gary Wilson can do right now except sit in his chair and hope he gets back to the table.
And it would be a little ironic if Higgins, having been in winning position so often since he won his last ranking title 3 years ago and not having quite been able to convert, if he could reach the final here again at the Welsh Open by overturning a huge deficit. Remember that season that he made 5 finals. In 2 of the home nations finals, he was 2 up with 3 to play in the title match and lost. He was 5 up with 6 to play in the Tour Championship final against Neil Robertson that season and lost. And today, 4 down with 5 to play against Gary Wilson.
Played it with a lot of right-hand side on the cue ball to avoid the red. His positional play, but hasn't quite come far enough on the blue. Might just be enough angle to send the cue ball in and out of baulk. Well, he's on a red to the left middle, but it could have been easier than this, couldn't it? It's awkward cueing. Yep, good recovery shot. Black and pink still tied up. You could play the cannon to the red and pink here. Doesn't need to because there's plenty of reds that he could play for. But trying to develop something. And still the pink tied up.
16.
And not on anything easy. That could have been so different.
John again, 16.
Excellent safety.
Yeah, Higgins typically taking his medicine there, having run out of position. And keeping the pressure on the man who has been in control of this match right from the get-go tonight, but still has to find the killing thrust.
Yeah, this game was so easy for him an hour ago, and all of a sudden missing the black off the spot and attempting the swerve around the red has cost him 2 frames. And now he can't get in to create some problems. He may be able to pop the red to the middle, but can't see it being any good to him. Wow. That's dangerous to play, isn't it? But what does he have? Yeah, good shot.
1.
Well, he would have liked to have been on the pink, but the red has still blocked the pocket for the pink. And he's on the blue with the red over the pocket. Shouldn't be a problem.
Blue ball.
Oh, that's another terrific pot with all that right-hand side on the cue ball.
6. 47.
And this time, the right side of the blue. Now, he could do with getting rid of that red nearest the right corner, so the pink would be able to go in there. But he needs to be on that red in such a way as to be able to get to a colour. Doesn't want to be straight on it. That's not the best shot he's ever played.
12. Yes.
He couldn't have left this much more awkward. If the pink goes to the left middle, then that could be an option for him. Yeah, he's played that well. He's played that exceptionally well. Didn't get a round of applause there, but that was an absolutely cracking shot. The pink will go to the middle.
It's been well documented this week that John Higgins has latterly been engaging a mind coach, sports psychologist, to work on stuff between the ears after admitting to feeling negative about recent disappointing losses when he's been so close to titles and big victories, and he was entitled to feel a bit negative at 5-1 behind, being comprehensively outplayed. But what fight he's showing here. The fight of a champion.
Yeah, he certainly is. I wonder if these mind coaches help an opponent miss blacks off the spot, though.
26.
Because if you remember, we did say that he's going to need some help from Gary Wilson.
Well, he certainly got some in the previous frame, didn't he, with Wilson taking on that mightily tricky swerve to keep the break going when he had nothing in the way of an insurance ball safe on a cushion. Higgins duly delivered his second consecutive winning clearance.
Yeah, and the black off the spot, of course, in the frame previous.
34.
Cruel game sometimes, but he's got to try and stay positive. The problem is, Philip, and you know, I've been suspect of this myself, that you know, you think you're in the next round, when in actual fact you're not. You still need that frame.
40.
And when your opponent starts to come back at you, it's difficult to take. Well, what's he done there?
41.
I can't believe he's run the cue ball that far through. This is now missable, and the balls are there for the taking.
67 left for Wilson as things stand.
I expected him to stun the cue ball for the pink into the middle, and being close to this pink, this is tough.
Missed one into this pocket earlier.
Oh, yeah. Well played. Well played, because he would have been kicking himself there, being so far away from the pink.
47.
So just this red for his third consecutive frame, and then it really is game on here. What a match, what drama. We started with the blitz of scoring from Gary Wilson, threatening a 1-4-7 in the first frame of the night, making one incredibly in the second frame, and completely hogging the table on his way to a 4-0 interval lead, which he then extended to 5-1. And at that stage, Higgins' hopes looked slim indeed, but not anymore. He's the player with the momentum right now.
55.
And if you're sitting in Gary Wilson's chair, it must all be a little
56.
scary. He was close to having this match won a couple of times. Now he's got to do it all over again. Except that now John Higgins is within 2 frames himself
62.
of a place in the final.
63.
Which would be his 56th in a ranking tournament.
70.
No emotion externally from Wilson, but internally, no doubt there's plenty going on right now.
71.
Oh, what an effort. Oh, well, who knows if the pink hadn't intervened. But Higgins won't be much bothered about not making a century. He'll be delighted to be right back in contention, courtesy of another terrific break of 78 for his 3rd consecutive frame. There's just one between them at 5-4.
Thank you. 10th frame. John Higgins to break.
Frame 10 of a possible 11. Can John Higgins force a decider? What a comeback it's been. Typically gritty and classy from Higgins, determined to make his opponent earn his victory, which looked highly likely when he led 5-1. But now Wilson really under pressure, not just to get this final frame, but having had such a lead, having played so brilliantly to build the lead and see it gradually evaporate in front of his eyes. He's had chances already to put it to bed. He's not been able to. So it's a real test of character now for Gary Wilson to prevail from here. Only their 4th meeting, their 2nd at the Welsh Open. They met at this stage 6 years ago. Higgins won much more comfortably on that occasion. Very different match, 6-2 on his way to his record 5th Welsh Open title, but he's not won a big one for 3 years.
So those 2 reds down far into the table, one in baulk, one over the middle pocket, ensures that the safety is going to be down the black end of the table for the time being. Neither player likes to see this. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. Too risky to take the red onto the middle. He's thinking about it though. And that is a cracking shot. Oh, I thought it was in. I thought it was in. The problem is that he knew he was leaving the red to the baulk corner, but how close was this? It half dipped into the pocket. big shot this is. I think he'll be trying to bring the cue ball back down to this corner pocket. Some insurance. Oh, didn't want the kiss on the blue. So, drama. And this is all down to Gary Wilson taking that pot onto the middle, being positive, forcing Higgins to take that long red on. He gets a chance.
Eight. 9.
'So once again, Gary Wilson in first in the frame he needs for victory. He's been in this situation twice already. 55 in front in one frame, 40 odd in another. Both times Higgins had the last word.
12.
Can he close this out in one visit? Pressure now at its most extreme.
Taking the blue allows the black to go into that pocket.
$18. 19.
Not the best angle to go into the reds. Red over the middle pocket. If he drops in behind it, I think it will go. Now, is he on anything? Nothing easy.
24.
A fuller ball contact was needed on the reds. Very aggressive shot, but just didn't catch them full enough. Oh, surely you can't take this red on. You'd be leaving reds on if you did. And missed it, of course. It just depends if that red closest to the middle pocket goes into that pocket. No, it was risky.
Gary Wilson, 24.
But he's got away with it.
We had a wonderful semi-final this afternoon, and if anything, this one has been even more gripping. Maximum break, very nearly 2 in the first 2 frames. Brilliant performance in the first half of the match from Gary Wilson, and a sterling fight back from the great John Higgins. But is it going to be a winning fight back?
There's a possible double there. Couldn't leave anything. But the red is playing. Is he going to play it? No. No attempt. Well, this is risky. Got to get a good cue ball, and that is a good cue ball. That's trouble for Gary Wilson. They could have gone anywhere. Elliot Slessor played a shot like that in the last frame of his match. And one went over that right middle pocket. Now, Gary Wilson may be forced into taking that red on, but it's a must-get shot.
Huge moment in this semi-final.
Yeah, great shot, great shot. And the cue ball just held up. What a terrific shot that was. Forced into taking it on. And now this game and match is in his own hands.
Hard to overestimate the pressure on that particular shot, particularly given the way the last 3 frames have gone. Every credit to Gary Wilson. That was really gutsy. But now it's about capitalising on that excellent opening red.
That was pure bottle. Absolutely, through and through. Brave to take it on. Bottle to get it. Especially the way he's lost the last 2 frames. Got to take your hat off to him. Well played. Because that man there had played a great safety shot, getting the cue ball dead on the cushion, forcing Gary to take that red on.
And he came to the table for this visit with that handy little 20-plus lead, so already
10.
With a decent advantage in this frame. But at the same time, mindful of what has happened in 2 of the last 3, when he had a big lead and saw the frame snatched away.
Yeah, he would have liked to have been a little bit straighter on this blue. Doesn't really want to be playing cannons at this stage. But he may have no choice but to play into them. Add a red, he'll have a red to the middle. Doesn't want the kiss.
15.
Higgins has played superbly to ask the question of Gary Wilson from 5-1 behind. He's given it everything in a bid to turn this his way. Is he now going to be thwarted? Huge pressure on all of these, even though on the face of it the table looks very inviting. They've still got to be potted.
23.
He always likes to play low on the black. It's his favourite position. A lot of players leave the cue ball high on the black. I decided to play this plant.
31.
Closing in now. Only 67 left on the table.
Well, the way he got in there at the beginning of this break, rolling the red into the middle, dead weight, holding for one of the baulk colours.
38.
Deserves everything he gets. And another red, and he'll be in the final.
He's certainly been made to sweat by an excellent fight back from John Higgins.
43.
Who's given it everything in his bid to overturn the huge deficit he faced at 5-1.
44.
But it's surely now going to be Gary Wilson who wipes some sweat from his brow. He knows he's been in a battle. Who's going to appear in his 5th ranking final and a chance to add to his 2 Scottish Opens. For John Higgins, the wait for a 32nd ranking title
51.
3 years after his 31st goes on. His game is in good shape, but once again, falling just short.
Steady on, please. Thank you.
John Pellew just keeping a lid on
58.
the audience's emotions. It's been a roller coaster ride, this match. It's been a great match. It's been a great semi-final day here at venue Cymru. And it's Gary Wilson who's filled the remaining spot in the title match. And he's done it in style. What a red it was to get in for this. And this time...
Yeah, this is the red. But look at the way he played it. He didn't play to leave the cue ball on the baulk cushion. He played for one of the baulk colours.
66.
John Higgins hasn't done a lot wrong this evening. In fact, he's played exceptionally well to win 3 frames in a row.
73.
Ultimately, it was just too big a deficit to claw back. The damage was done before the interval by Gary Wilson with that brilliant quartet of frames.
73, Gary Wilson.
A wonderful match. Wonderful entertainment for this crowd. And it's Gary Wilson who takes his place in the Welsh Open final. John Higgins asked the question. He came back from 5-1 down. But maximum man Wilson will play Martin O'Donnell for the Ray Reardon Trophy tomorrow. He's beaten John Higgins by 6 frames to 4.
Well, that was just awesome from start to finish. What an enjoyable game of snooker. And our final is set for the 2024 Welsh Open here at venue Cymru in Llandudno. We've had a brilliant week of snooker. The crowds have been great. And well done to Gary Wilson, booking himself a place in tomorrow's final. He has beaten John Higgins 6 frames to 4 and a maximum break along the way. He sets up, well, a very intriguing final tomorrow against Martin O'Donnell. Of course, Gary Wilson, twice a champion in Scotland, and Martin O'Donnell, it's new territory for him, his first ever ranking final, but that was awesome. The comeback from Higgins, really, really incredible, but what Gary Wilson has managed to achieve on the main stage tonight, it was just breathtaking, wasn't it?
It really was, and he's proved he's a proper winner, Gary Wilson. The way that he won that match, it was a procession that turned into a classic encounter. It really did, and we didn't see it happening when it was 5-1, and certainly not at 4-0 at the interval. But due credit to John for digging in. We expect nothing less, may I say. But Gary, I'm pleased for the game itself, just the maximum, and the way that he played before the interval. I'm pleased for him that he came through, because he would have had 1 or 2 nightmares.
Oh gosh, well, we were chatting, weren't we? Imagine if he lost this match, you know, after the display in the first 4 frames, because he took them all, and we had the attempt of a 147, ended on a 104, and of course then the attempt turned into a maximum break, and this crowd, well, they absolutely loved it. We loved it. Always very special. The 199th maximum break and a 5th in his career.
Yeah, it was a special moment. Obviously, they all are, and right from that first shot where he got the nice little flick onto the black and put it into the open, and from here, early on in the break, you thought he's kind of going to make this, you know. And the cue ball, almost on every black off the spot, was almost where you'd put it with hand. Even this one here, just punch in up for yellow. It was poetry in motion, really was, and he almost overcooked that one for yellow, but actually it was quite nice, because the green was kind of just hiding behind the brown there, so there was no problem getting the cue ball out, and he just rolled it in blasé and cool as you like, and up went the finger, and brilliant.
Yeah, and a lovely congratulations from John Higgins as well. So, yeah, a little bit of history, further history at the Welsh Open, and just the scoring from both players in the end, actually. When Higgins was on the comeback trail, we had a 69, a 66, 2 vintage clearances, a 78, and suddenly we're thinking, hold on, are we going to have some real drama tonight? This afternoon we had a deciding frame, and I want to take you back to this shot where Gary Wilson looks like he's going to win the match. But he swerves, he takes on this red, and immediately we're thinking, hold on, are we pushing the boat out a little bit here?
Yes, he was, because this one shot kind of changed the complexion of the match. Yeah, John's got to still make the clearances, but for John, you know, that's in the tank, no problem. It was a strange choice of shot. It was frustration of not getting from the easy blue deep screw on and off cushion. It just left the door ajar. It was one of those that, up until that point, the seas were calm, the sun was out, he was enjoying his time out in the water, and then all of a sudden it got a bit choppy. And
it's a bit of a haunter, though, isn't it, that shot?
Yeah.
I mean, if Higgins was to go on and win the match, I mean, you'd be forever thinking of it, and that is the great game of snooker, isn't it? We can have all these twists and turns, but in the end, Gary Wilson got over the line, and we can watch it with, again, another nice break.
Yeah, he did. The last frame, the first red in the last frame to the left middle off this shot. John's played a brilliant shot.
This was danger everywhere, wasn't it, for Gary?
Yeah. John's played an awesome safety shot. Gary, look at that. The head's still down in the shot now, waiting on the cue ball stopping. That was a triumph of technique, almost, that shot, and then one for the crowd at the end. Unfortunately, the cue ball went in. But warm congratulations, obviously, from John. The class act that he is, and he's deservedly so. Yeah,
indeed, and he'll know that he's just been beaten by a very magical, special performance and a 147 along the way. Let's hear his thoughts. He's with Michael.
John, you must be disappointed, but it's so hard after the start he had.
Sorry?
You must be disappointed, but it must be so hard at the start he had.
No, it was. He played superb. The first 3.5 frames, I didn't really obviously feel part of the match. Had a little chance to maybe go 3-1, but like 4-0 at the interval. But listen, I went in practicing, I still felt really good, and then made a fight of it when I came out. Obviously, Gary missed a couple when he's like 40 or 50 in front, but I felt as if I could go in and clear up. I just really enjoyed the game. I really enjoyed playing. A really good match. and he potted an incredible red in the last frame there. Now, obviously, I wasn't wanting to go for it, but I'm thinking to myself, yeah, go for it, because if you get it, every credit to you. He stayed still on it, potted it, and done a great break. So every credit to him, making the maximum. Could have made 2. He played fantastic, Gary.
But you know, it's no consolation, but you know you're playing well. Do you feel like a win could be very soon?
I hope so. Yeah, but no, listen, I feel as if I'm hitting it good, and I think I'm going to play well. Whereas, you know yourself, it can be quite difficult. But I couldn't wait to get a chance here, because I thought I was going to do something, but not to be. So every credit. I hope it's a good final, because the 2 of them deserve it. 2 of them have played great to get there. So, but yeah, disappointed. But listen, Gary played brilliant.
Yeah, well said, John. Bad luck.
Cheers, mate.
Well, he's got to hold his head high. He's had a wonderful week. I mean, he's been the outstanding player, hasn't he? He's not in tomorrow's final, but along the way, we've all been chatting about John Higgins, just how well he's playing, feeling good, enjoying competing. And it was all wrapped up there in that interview. He just knows that it was bang, 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 devastating stuff from Gary Wilson. And in the end, he's just had to accept that that was just one of those days. But a match you'd love to be enjoyed in, right?
Oh, yeah, and it's brilliant to hear John being so upbeat after a close defeat, and justifiably so. He's had a lot of bad beats in the last couple of years, obviously, trying to get over the line, but he knows he's back to where his game needs to be to compete at this top level. Remember, he came in to this tournament as the favourite, didn't he? And you know, he's proved that the bookmakers weren't far wrong, were they? So, you know, yeah, credit to him. He played brilliant all week. He just got beaten by the better man on the night. And
to make it to a final like Gary Wilson has, and to get that maximum break along the way, it's always very special. I mean, win or lose, obviously he's going to want to go away with the Ray Reardon trophy, but that as well, and to get to the final and maybe even win it and make a 147, it would be a very, very special end for him, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we all thought, obviously, just before Christmas, defending the Scottish Open up in Edinburgh for the Stephen Hendry Trophy, this would be one that, actually, in the interim period, we haven't seen the signs that maybe another win is on the horizon. But he's that type of player, Gary, isn't he? And a bit like Luca Bracel, I know he didn't close it this week, but when he tends to go deep in tournaments, tends to win. Gary's kind of the same. I know he's been in, you know, this is his 5th final. He's won 2, lost 2. But he tends to play his best snooker at the business end of tournaments, and that's what you got to do. That's
what he's done once again. And of course, you mentioned Luca, how he's back to form. It was Martin O'Donnell that did him the other night. And what an amazing story for him to be in his first ever ranking final. And I think that's what the home nations delivers, isn't it? You know, you think, you go through the week, you're plotting, you think, wow, who's going to be there? Has anyone got any idea? But there's always going to be that story. And Martin, if he wins this, his first ever final, could be his first title. Yeah, and the dynamic changes a little for Gary Wilson tomorrow. He's going to be the strong favourite, but the last 3 finals here, Joe beat Judd, Jordan beat Ronnie, and Bob beat Sean. So the second, you know, you just tell him that, and that's all. You know, you don't have to tell him he's going to fancy the job. Martin, justifiably so. But yeah, I think it's going to be a cracking final. I really do. I think Martin's got a big chance too. Well, let's hear from him, because he was smiling ear to ear after his win earlier, and he spoke to Michael Holt.
Martin, you must be so happy.
Yeah, buzzing, absolutely buzzing. You know, and. To win the frame in a match in one visit, you know, I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah, and it was a good level all the way through, and I think you made some good breaks. I think the break to go 4-3 shows that you're composed.
Yeah. I mean, I had a bit of a shaky start, to be fair, but once I grew into the match, yeah, I thought from 1 each, it was a pretty decent game. I thought we both played quite well, and yeah, it was a bit punch for punch. I got to 5-3, but then Elliot, being as classed as he is, you know, just hit me back with 2 breaks and stuck me under the gun again. So pleased to get through.
Yeah, that must be a boost, because sometimes when it goes a bit twitchy, it's hard to get out of that sort of cycle. But the fact that you could recover from that must be just, well, great. Yeah. I mean, strangely, the most calm and composed I was actually in the decider, clearing up. I don't know why. You know, I thought it, but that's actually the best I felt in the match.
And
it's the point of no return. You've got to get the balls in.
You have got to get them in. You just got to pot everything.
So you're in the final now. You must be so looking forward to it.
Yeah, can't wait. You know, that was great out there today. One table set up, and to experience the final tomorrow. Yeah, I'm really excited.
Good night's sleep. Get ready.
Hopefully.
Good luck.
Cheers. Thanks, Mike.
Well, he came in after beating Luca Bracel and he was like, you know, can't wait to see what it's going to be like, you know, semi-final. And now he's like, yep, looking forward to the final. And it is the occasion, obviously, to be part of the final. I mean, the likes of Martin O'Donnell, he's come to many tournaments in the past, and it must be a weird thing when you're the only 2 players left on a Sunday and you're in the final after like 64 players started the week and you're chatting to all the guys, and then suddenly it's just you and your opponent. That must feel weird.
Yeah, I'll tell you what is going to feel weird. I mean, I was in a few finals myself, but when he goes in the practice room tomorrow for his loosener before the final, it'll feel completely different. It'll just be him. Gary might not even be there, and it'll feel sort of cavernous and like, so I'm going home tomorrow and it'll either be... It'll feel strange, but he's got best of 17. Gary's just joined. He's got best of 17. Hopefully they'll both settle into it. I'm sure they will.
I'm glad you've arrived, because they're turning off all the lights behind us.
It's quick, isn't it?
It does. But my gosh, a packed crowd tonight for you, and a 147 and a victory over John Higgins. Probably a match you'll remember forever. Brilliantly played.
It was getting twitchy because I should have killed it off, really. And I was, if I'm being picky, obviously you're going to be harsh on yourself. I should have killed it off, and that's a bit of a disappointment, and I'll take that forward, but confidently. I'll try and make sure I don't do that sort of thing again. But it's just obviously naturally a little bit of pressure. You don't really expect to be 5-1 ahead against someone like John. When you're in that position, it's almost a little bit like, oh, you might just throw one in because you're almost wondering what's happening a little bit, you know. So I've got to try and learn from that a little bit. But generally, overall, got to be really pleased. Played pretty well overall, so... yeah, happy with that.
Overall, hold on, 104, a 147, an 82, an 89 and a 73. Now, you have had 4 centuries in a row in the UK Championship, I think, was a few years ago against Chris Wakeland.
Yeah, that's right.
Where that was like an amazing performance.
And it should have been a max as well. I was on 97 in the other frame, so it should have been 5 and a max.
So in terms of best performance ever, was this it tonight, do you think?
But it was up there, as you say. That one against Chris was, as I say, frightening. It was 4-0 behind and I made 4 tons, should have been 5 and a max, and I just literally didn't miss a ball for 6 frames. But this one was, you know, at the start it was getting towards that, but as I say, got to kill it off. Against people like John, that could have easily been slightly different. If that last red, which I'm proud of myself for potting, obviously just drifts slightly, it's 5 each and anything can happen, so you don't want to be letting it get that close, not against someone as class as John.
When you played that red, the checky swerve one, in the 2 pocket. What? Obviously, you're disappointed. It's pretty straightforward to get on it from blue, and then you just got ahead of yourself.
Do you know what it is? I don't want to blame anything generally, but there was a bit of a noise just on my backswing on the blue, as it can happen sometimes, and that noise just made us go into the cue ball just that a little bit too much on the blue. Went too far, and I need to learn sometimes to rein it in. I'm harsh on myself, but sometimes to an extent where I almost feel like I've got to keep the break going, otherwise players like John, Ronnie, whoever, they're going to see signs, or they're going to, you know, they're going to get chances, and that can make them stronger. Sometimes, though, you've just got to accept you're not on the ball, play safe. If you lose the frame, you've played all the right shots, and I didn't really do that there, but I should do that in future.
It's very difficult to probably explain to a non-professional snooker player. It's so difficult to... I'm going to count to 10 here and go and have a sip of water, clean the white, please.
Yeah.
It's difficult to do that, isn't it? When maybe that would be the best.
When it's players of that class, you know, if you're playing players a lot lower down the rankings maybe, and you feel like you'd get another chance anyway, it's much easier just to play the safety. You wouldn't fancy... But as I say, you play people like John and Ronnie and you're thinking that could be the only chance I get. They're so strong at coming back, so... yeah, sometimes you've just got to try and refrain yourself from pushing the boat out a little bit.
But the correct shot has always been the correct shot against...
I know you can manipulate it and pot it, and it's game over. And
it's hard, though, because you're 4-0 up, you're 5-1 up, and you're, like, desperate to keep this going. You're at the table. You just want to, you know, stay at the table, and you're playing devastating snooker. We've got to look back at the last few shots of the 147. And I want to ask you, just like, what was your overriding feeling? Because the fans have been great this week, and... Yellow to green, was there anything tricky? Because it all looked fairly straightforward to us.
That ran on a little bit further than I expected it to. And this one, you just have to be precise, drop it in at the right pace, and obviously where it landed was absolutely perfect, just to top it in.
Any thought of stunning that in? You don't get many kicks though these days, don't you?
No, I always fancy rolling them in. That's just the way I am. If I cue the ball properly, it's not my forte. So.
Heavy white.
Yeah, heavy white.
Well, that's a trade secret. We're not going to...
But yeah, obviously delighted. It was a funny thing because the last one I made in the UK Championships, I should have had one the frame before, and then I got one. And it was exactly the same there. I should have had one the frame before and got one, so it's strange. Yeah,
it's crazy,
I keep getting two chances at a time, not just one. Yeah. So.
Brilliant. As I said, history at the Welsh Open, another 147, 199 in total for snooker.
Couldn't have been 200.
Listen, you still got time. You could do it in the final tomorrow against Martin O'Donnell. Very quick word on Martin and his journey this week and how much you look forward to playing him.
Yeah, obviously I watched a little bit of it earlier. He played fantastic, you know. I said well done to him in the practice room afterwards, and yeah, pleased for him. Obviously, he's one of the guys on tour who's just such a nice lad. He's grafted hard for years and years, and you know he's reaping some rewards now. So pleased for him, yeah.
One of the good guys like yourself. Well done.
Thanks very much. That's nice, isn't it?
Hi, Matt. Listen,
she's not naughty this night.
Don't be so surprised. I can do nice, and we can do snooker tomorrow. Of course, it's the final here at Venue Cymru in Llandudno, and why would you miss it? It's going to be fantastic. 12:45 UK time, and we'll be to a conclusion, and we'll be crowning the winner. And of course, £80,000 up for grabs, and the famous Ray Reardon Trophy. So we will see you tomorrow. My thanks to the guys. Gary Wilson through then a star in Edinburgh and on the fringe here in Llandudno. Bye-bye.